My dear people of Southern Cameroons, brave warriors of our revolution, today I come before each and every one of you to announce that the end of the long break is today. I say the end of the long break is a theme of this discussion because we have seen a period of time when our enemy took time off to celebrate, when they reveled and drank champagne and sat in rooms and screamed to themselves that the time has come to use witchcraft, to use all forms of occultic powers to be able to overcome and to subdue us. We saw them on screen say it loud and clear that they have to use mystical powers, they have to use black magic, they have to use witchcraft, they have to use all forms of evil powers to subdue and overcome us. Yes, they had the opportunity to rebel because they thought that they had set confusion in our midst once and for all. They were excited as they watched us destroy ourselves in audio after audio, video after video, write-up after write-up. My dear people of Southern Cameroons and Bazonia, there comes a time in the lives of the people where they say enough is enough. There comes a time in the lives of the people where they say the long break is over. When they say from today, we know who our enemy is, and that is the enemy that we are going to go after. My dear people of Southern Cameroons, when you get up in the morning and you begin to hit on your phone forward, or you begin to pick up your phone and record a SAR audio and send into the revolutionary streams, I want you to ask yourself this question: why you first of all got into this revolution? Did you get into this revolution because you thought it was a walk in the park? Ask yourself this question. Did you get into this revolution because you knew exactly what you were fighting against and what you are looking for? Ask yourself this question. And when you ask yourself these questions, ask yourself one more and very important question. Who is the enemy you came into this revolution to fight? Fellow Ambazonians or La République du Cameroun? If your answer is fellow Ambazonians, continue with what you are doing. But if the answer to your question is that you came into this revolution, you abandoned your duties and decided to devote time to this revolution because you wanted to fight our one and only enemy, La République du Cameroun, that has enslaved us for over 57 years, then revise your attitude. Ask yourself whether what you have been doing has been helping you fight that enemy. And if the answer is no, rethink your strategy. If the answer is yes, continue with what you are doing. My dear people of Southern Cameroon and Bazonia, there comes a time in the lives of the people where they ask themselves, where are we coming from? Where are we standing right now? And where are we heading to? If you ask yourself these three questions, as I've done to myself, you will come to the conclusion I also came to. The conclusion I come to is that, one, I gave up my career. I gave up my life. I gave up my pleasures. I gave up my wealth, what I've worked for throughout life, because I want to seek freedom. Because I want to break away from slavery that started from our forefathers, continued through us, and is likely to be perpetuated through our children, our children's children, and future generations of Southern Cameroons. That is why I came into this revolution, because I want to break this curse. There comes a time where you say this curse must end with me. It must end in this generation. It cannot be carried forward. We have agreed. I say we because there are a lot of people out there who think like me. They have called me by day and by night and have told me, Mr. Akuro, in spite of all the vilification, in spite of all the attacks to your personality and the personalities of other frontline leaders, in spite of all the praise and in spite of all the lows that we have seen, we stand with you. We are ready to die. We are ready to continue fighting. Even if at the end of the day we are only three of us, we will continue to fight right up to the logical end. My dear brothers and sisters of Southern Cameroons, I know That there are some in this revolution who have vowed that I will not enter Boya if at all that victory is secured by Mr. X or by Mr. Y. But I want to assure you about one thing. God ordained this revolution. He knows who he has picked to lead this revolution. He knows who he has picked to support this revolution. He knows who he has picked to carry arms and move along with this revolution. When God picked Moses to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt, Moses was not the best. Moses was not the cleanest. Moses was not the most honest. Moses was not even an orator. He didn't even know how to talk. Moses had speech impairment, but God picked Moses because God saw in Moses the only quality that no human being saw that was enough to take the people across, away from Egypt into the promised land. And when God noticed that Moses at one point will have a deficiency, will have a but in his life that would hold him down, God added another person to Moses. And that person that God added to Moses completed the journey. In this journey that we are already engaged and are marching on to Boya, a trip that will never be aborted. I repeat and I insist, a trip that will never be aborted. Despite the number of giants we shall find on our way, we will have people fall along the roadsides. We will have people give up. We will have people try to betray us. We will have people who stand and look at us eyeball to eyeball and call us names that we don't like. But those people will never be good enough to discourage us. They will never discourage me. They will never discourage you who are engaged truthfully in ensuring that we match our people to Boya. When you get up in the morning, and you tell ourselves, I want to give up on this revolution right now. And you tell yourself that I must send a discouraging message out there. And you tell yourself, I must tell people, oh yes, it is so bad. Let us give up right now and better go and beg Mr. Paul Biya. Ask yourself how you got into this. This revolution is not for the chicken-hearted. This revolution is not for those who are afraid of insults. This revolution is not for those who like to be pampered. Is not for those who like to be praised and to be hailed. This revolution is for those who are ready to receive stones, who are ready to have scars all over their bodies, but continue to be ready to march us into Boya, because that is the final destination of this revolution. And no one, no one is going to change that. We will get there. We will get to Boya. Yaounde has recruited a lot of people. And they are beginning to celebrate that they are succeeding in setting confusion in our ranks. But I have bad news for Yaounde. The bad news I have for Yaounde is that while they thought they were reveling, that they have set confusion in the diaspora and the confusion has been transported to ground zero, sorry. I have good news for all of those who still believe and trust in this revolution. Our valiant boys and girls who picked up arms, not because they were belligerent, who picked up arms, not because they so much wanted to hold weapons. The people of Southern Cameroon have never loved to carry harmful arms. The people of Southern Cameroon are so devoted to the peace plans. That is why behind every household in Southern Cameroon, you find the peace plans. Our people never ever, for 57 years, picked up arms. But our people were forced to the wall. Our people were forced back to the wall, and they had to defend themselves. And so when they picked up arms, it was to defend themselves against the onslaught from Yaounde. And so those young boys and girls who today have arms in their hands to defend themselves and the vulnerable ones in our society, in our community, they know who their enemy is. They are not like the misguided ones who don't know exactly who or what they are fighting against. These young boys and girls, from the time seeming confusion started on social media, went into the backyard, went into the back room, went back to the drawing board. They sat together, general after general called themselves, and they have come together. They have agreed to cut all those barriers, to break all those barriers that are likely to bring division among themselves. That is why in the next few days, you will no longer hear anybody on ground zero call himself an ADF fighter, call himself a Sokadev fighter, call himself an ASC fighter, call himself a Tiger fighter. They will call themselves Ambazonian fighters because they have understood where division is coming from. They have understood what the enemy is banging on. They have understood that they have one opponent and one opponent only, and that opponent is Yaounde. That opponent is Mr. Paul Biya and all his terrorist soldiers who by day and by night continue to burn down our villages, continue to roast down our resources, continue to struggle to incapacitate us by all means. My dear brothers and sisters, you have definitely heard one more piece of news that I know has shaken you to the marrows, that I know is turning your hearts now upside down. Yes, a lot of us have heard that news has come out from Yaounde, that the Yaounde regime, with its cheerleaders from southern Cameroon, the chief slaves, Paul Atanganji, Philemon Yang, Ngole Elvis, and yet a good lot of others, for Tabe Tando and the rest, have settled down with Peter Mafani Musonge and agreed that it will make a lot of sense to have our leaders, Sisiku AyukTabe, Wilfred Tassang, Yaounde, Elias, Mfongalamfo, Shufai Bless Service and the rest, killed before the elections come up. Because if they don't get these people killed and out of the way, if they keep them there and their presence continues to suscitate our galvanization, they will never be able to make it going forward. I have news for you. When at one point I embraced the microphone and I announced that the same day our people were picked up in Nigeria, they were killed and cast into the seas, some of you came after me. You never bothered to know why that message came out. You never asked yourself, is John Bakuro mad? Is he the same person? Is this senior journalist come diplomat still in the normal senses to come out here and announce that people are dead when he hasn't seen their corpses, when he doesn't have evidence? No one asked that question. Immediately people ran after me. But I have news for you. That evening, I had a conversation with Comrade Chris Anu, because we had a clear tip of, just like you're having now, that they had plans to kill our leaders that night, and that the same people, including Peter Abeti, including all those people who call themselves our elite by default, had determined that they should be killed at once and cast into the seas, just like they imagined it happened to Bin Laden. So that when that happens, they will break us completely and we will never be able to recover from the shock and from the discovery and from that disaster. But one of those people, just one of them, leaked out that information to us. And we conferred with Comrade Chris Anu of the interim government. And we called most of the members of the families of those concerned and informed them that we were going to take that tactical move to send that information out, because the international community needed to know exactly what was about to happen to our leaders. It will shock you when I tell you that that evening, I couldn't get Mrs. Tassang on the phone, but I scampered throughout Nigeria until I was able to locate her somewhere before she left that country. And I was by her after I had spoken to Mrs. Yaounde to announce to the world that our leaders were killed that same night. You don't know that it saved their lives, but all you know is that you needed to attack people. My dear people of Southern Cameroons, take note from today. We are in a revolution. And in a revolution, there are too many things that don't get explained to the people. We have ultimate and important decisions to take from time to time in the interest of this revolution, because we need this revolution to succeed. And all we need from the people is understanding. All we need from the people is support. And all we need from the people is encouragement. Exactly what those who are putting their lives on the line need from our people are not insults. Don't put insult on injuries. The bullets from La République du Cameroun are already so deafening to their ears. The corpses of their comrades that fall under the bullets from Mr. Paul Biya's terrorist forces are already enough trouble for them. They don't need further trouble from us. All they need from us is support. I have news for you again today. The news I have for you today is that our boys and girls on the ground who have refused to die by standing up to support themselves are in good order. There is order reigning among them. Today, they are united more than ever before, and they know who their real and only enemy is. No noise, no confusion from the diaspora will set these boys into tantrums and into confusion. I want to congratulate each and every of those generals that have called me for the past 3 days and told me, Mr. Akuro, tell our people that we are not derailed. Tell our people that we are focused. Tell our people that we continue to need their support. Tell our people to stop tearing themselves apart because nothing is going to change our focus. Yaounde is confused. Before the resilience of the people of Southern Cameroons, Yaounde is confused. Before the extra strength they never knew exists in us, Yaounde is confused. Because of our willingness to die to free homeland, Yaounde is confused. Before our willingness to work extra hours, to work even under snow, to work in all sorts of circumstances, to put in that necessary dollar, that necessary euro, that necessary franc that will take us to freedom. Freedom has a price. Our people are aware that freedom has a price, and they are ever ready to pay for their freedom. My dear brothers and sisters, I told you here some time ago that when Mr. Gogomo came to the United States of America in the company of John Gute and Mr. Mbayu Felix, their mission was to set up grounds where they will set confusion in our midst and make us forget about the struggle, forget about what we are fighting for, and give them room to run their fraudulent elections on our territory. Yes, that is why today, even as they are very satisfied and convinced that we are all now tearing ourselves, that they had set Apostle Johnson Suleiman to announce that we are going to turn our guns against ourselves. They have now moved to the next plan, to build a federalist concept in the United States of America. In the next few days, you're going to be having messages in your phones here and there of federalists constituting America to hold a big conference about a certain imaginary and utopic one and indivisible Cameroon. My dear brothers and sisters of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, I bring you news today that whether La République du Cameroon likes it or not, the level of infiltration is not good enough. They have to go back to the drawing board. They have to try hard and very hard again before they will attain their objective. Take note, even in the front lines, we will end up with the unique treasury that you Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians all expect to prosecute this revolution. Yes, the unique reception point on Ground Zero is already created. Our valiant boys and girls have come together. They are all coming together under a grouping called the AMC. They have all put their heads together. They have worked so hard, and they have put in place a system that will make them watertight, that will make them operate under the kind of Ubuntu. I hope a lot of you have heard about Ubuntu, under the kind of Ubuntu philosophy. What is this Ubuntu all about? For those of you who haven't heard about it, just a brief description. This word came to the fore when a foreigner caught a group of young boys in a country in Africa and placed some fruit and said, "You are 7 of you, start running. The first person to get there will pick up this fruit and eat it and enjoy himself, and the others will lose." But to the amazement of this foreigner, the 7 young children held their hands, 7 of them, and ran at the same speed, arrived at the same time, and picked up that fruit and shared it among themselves, and they all enjoyed it. Amazed, the foreigner asked, "But why did you do this?" And the response was Ubuntu. We are stronger together. We must share together. We must enjoy together, because nobody has to be left behind. The people of Southern Cameroon will get into Boya together. Nobody will get there before us. That is why we must destroy the evil belief of group philosophy. That is why we must begin to understand that those who refuse to work with others do not have the best interest of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia at heart. That is why I have said it, and I reiterate here. Stop financing groups individually. Yes, we will come up with a unique treasury. There are some groups that may not sign up to it at the first instance. Those that don't sign up to it, constrain them to belong to it. Because the people of Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia should have an eye on how their contributions are managed. They should be informed regularly how the money is disbursed. They must be informed and see how the contributions that they make are helping us to move towards Boya. We must continue to say no to individualism. We must continue to say no to private cartels in this revolution. We must continue to say no to warlordism. I have announced a lot of times that I am interested in also seeing the I philosophy destroyed in favor of the we philosophy. That is how we are going to win. That is how we are going to prosecute this revolution. That is how we are going to make Yaounde bleed. That is how we are going to make Yaounde run out of the country and start calling on the United Nations to come in quickly and intervene. Oh yes, because the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, has made clear to the people of Southern Cameroon that he will listen only to Mr. Paul Biya, that is the only person who can call on him and he comes over. And we must constrain Mr. Antonio Guterres to listen to Paul Biya. We must constrain Mr. Paul Biya and his gang of rogues to call on Mr. Guterres to say, please come in. We are bleeding. We will get there through unity of purpose. We will get there when we answer to those very vital questions. Why am I in this revolution? Why have I sacrificed so much to be in this revolution? Why do I need to continue being in this revolution? The answer to these questions will guide your actions. The answer to these questions will make you understand that from Manfe through Widikum to Bamenda, from Boya through Moyuka to Kumba, from Njungo through Ngwata, passing through Mbeta Elumba into Nguti, we need this freedom. My dear people of Southern Cameroon, the long break is over. If you consider that you are guilty of promoting the division that Yaounde seeks to throw in our midst, repent tonight. If you consider that you forwarded messages that brought controversy, repent and desist tonight. If you consider that you have put good philosophy in your mind to the detriment of this revolution, rethink your strategy. If you consider that you have put your personal interests before the general interest of the people of Southern Cameroon, retract. If you consider that you have been a distraction to this struggle, become an addition. My dear brothers and sisters of Southern Cameroon, no one will take us to freedom. No one will walk us to freedom. We will do it by ourselves. And the time for you to come to the realization that our freedom is in our own hands, that the victories are to lose, you will begin to act. If you doubt it, let me inform you that La République du Cameroon is preparing for civil war because Mr. Paul Biya has already declared his own victory. And the people of La République du Cameroon have also come to the realization that Mr. Paul Biya is no longer good for them, that they can no longer support 7 years of tyranny. And for those of you who still consider that you have to hang on La République du Cameroon, know that in the days ahead, you will not have where to stand on their territory because there is a civil war seriously brewing in that country. This is the time for you to know where to put in your energy. Don't be like those Israelites that pestered Moses by day and by night when they got by the Red Sea and didn't know that God's next plan was to cause Moses to use his staff to divide the Red Sea for them to cross. And they asked Moses, why did you bring us here? You brought us here so I should stand here so that King Pharaoh and all his soldiers will come and kill us. Why didn't you allow us to continue to be slaves in the land of Egypt? At least we were going to stay alive while doing our slavery. But they did not know God's plan for them. They did not know that God had laid out everything. They were doubting Thomases, and God shocked them My dear people of Southern Cameroons, don't be the Israelites at that time. Trust in God. God ordained this revolution. He is on the front seat of this revolution. And whoever is fighting God's army should never be discouraged, because failure is not part of your agenda. God is with us.